Hello, welcome back to my channel. I am Tiff from Journal with Tiff, and today I am going to be reviewing the 8 pens that I had inked up for the month of May. As you can see, I have them all laid out, and underneath I've already kind of written out my thoughts. I'm not super consistent with how I do my reviews. I kind of just like to do whatever hits me that month. Maybe I'll do a rating, maybe I'll do an ink swatch with it. It just depends. So this month I decided to go ahead and write out in the ink with the pen my thoughts for that pen and my experiences for the month. So let's go ahead and get started. The first pen is the Visconti Homo Sapiens, and I have this inked with Ferris Wheel Press Steeped Umber, and it has a fine nib. This is, I just got this pen not long ago. I've been wanting to try the Homo Sapiens for quite a while, and I must say I'm pleasantly surprised. Well, I'm not surprised. I've always heard good things about it. But just because I hear a lot of good things doesn't mean it's going to be a good fit for me. But it was. I mean, I love this pen. It wrote so smoothly. And this pen and ink pairing was just great. The ink came out of it wet. It was lubricious. I didn't have any hard stops. And the grip section of this pen, I was a little concerned about the locking mechanism of the cap for in the grip section of the pen here. But from where I hold it, it didn't bother me at all. So I was very happy with it. And the Homo sapien has like lava and mixed in with some plastic, and the feel, oh my gosh, it is just like heaven. I love it. So this was such a great pairing. I love the grip section. The grip section is really important to me because if it's uncomfortable in my hand, I'm just not gonna go back to it. I don't care how good it writes. But this pen ink combination was great. And right here at the top, you can see my notes that I was writing, and that ink color is just beautiful in this pen. So that's my first one, the Visconti Homo Sapien with the Ferris Wheel Press Steeped Umber. Next was the TWSBI Eco Cafe Bronze. Oh my gosh, this, I mean, we all know that TWSBIs have a great ink capacity and they're workhorses, and they are very economical. But if for no other reason to love this pen, it's the colorway. This cafe with the bronze, I'm so glad they went with bronze instead of rose gold or silver. It's just gorgeous. I absolutely love it. But again, okay, back to the writing experience. This is definitely a workhorse. I also was very much the prior month in love with the cream and rose gold, and now I have the cafe bronze, and it's in a fine nib, and it wrote beautifully. And I'm a little, every time I have one of these inked up, I'm like, do I really want to empty it? I think I really want to keep it inked with this particular ink. Oh, and by the way, it's Ferris Wheel Press Workshop Wishes, and I did not draw up any of the shimmer. I am in love with this particular ink without the shimmer. This is it right here. It is a great match. The flow was excellent. Oh, and also kind of gave it like a star rating this time. So let me kind of backtrack. The Homo Sapien with the Ferris Wheel Press Steeped Umber, I will definitely pair it again. I had no complaints, so I gave it 4 stars. The Cafe Bronze, love the pen and ink pairing. no hard stops. It flowed great. It's just so comfortable, and I gave it 4 stars as well. Next was my Walltown pen in Augusta Theater, and this is inked with Robert Oster Heart of Gold, and it has an extra fine Yovo nib. Nothing special about the nib. I wouldn't necessarily call it an extra fine, to be honest with you. It's leaning somewhere between a fine and a medium, but this is one of my, let's see if I can, this is one of my favorite pens. I love this pour. This resin is just gorgeous. I mean, it's just, I am here for every color that's in this pen with the amber finials. So there is a review of this pen on my channel, so feel free to go and check that out. But this pen ink combination was phenomenal. So Heart of Gold is kind of a muddy green brown mix, and with like what looks like maybe a little bit of a yellowish gold undertone, and it shaded so beautifully. There was no issues with hard starts. The flow was great. A perfect match for this pen, and I loved the grip section. My fingers didn't sit here at all, so they sat perfectly, and there was no complaints in that section either. And this one also got 4 stars. I would absolutely pair this pen and ink combination again. Next is the Leonardo Momento Zero Grande in Red Scarlet, and I have it inked with Diamine Masquerade. I just love to look at. I've got a couple of pens that I swear I can just look at. I don't even have to write with them. I do write with them. I do not have any pens that I just stare at. But this is one of the ones that I can literally just sit here and like fidget spin, just stare at it. Okay, pull yourself back in, Tiff. Let's get back to business. This has an extra fine nib. And I will admit, this nib is a behemoth. It is huge. So I did have to adjust how I held the pen in order to, for a good writing experience. But I adjusted very easily. It was not a major problem. Let's see. Other than the nib size, oh, the Masquerade ink. It is a shimmer ink, and I, as usual, did not draw up any of the shimmer. But this match, this pen and ink match is just gorgeous. Let's see. Right there. The color of it is just beautiful. They go perfectly together. Another 4 stars. I wrote this pen dry. Excuse me, I wrote the ink dry. So in order to, and also what else did I write dry? I also wrote the Homo sapiens dry as well. So in order to write this, I literally just had to dip the pen in the ink. I didn't want to draw up more, but I did want to write the note with that particular ink. So wonderful writing experience, 4 stars. I just would look for reasons to grab this pen, and it served me well. No problems at all. Next was my Esterbrook SD in Evergreen, and it is inked with Linen Toolbar Bird Monster, and this has a fine Esterbrook nib. And this was actually, I guess you could call this a Grail pen, kind of, sort of. To me, a Grail is a pen that's out of reach, be it by price or if it's been discontinued, and this pen was discontinued, and I was looking high and low, could not find it until a friend assisted and helped and actually gifted me with it, and I'm so appreciative of her for that, because I just love the look, and the color is just the perfect tone of grain. It is an Esterbrook SD, so it's absolutely comfortable. I will admit, I'm not sure. I think I need to get the nib smoothed just a little bit. The ink pairing with this was not a problem at all. The Linen Toolbar Bird Monster. Actually, it is a gorgeous, gorgeous, cool toned green that had beautiful shading right there. Great shading, great tone, color tone. But I do believe I gave this 3 stars simply because of the nib. I need to get it smoothed. But once I get it smoothed, I mean, this is definitely going to be one of my go-tos. And also just because I'm so happy that I finally got it. So yeah, love it. 3 stars, but only because the nib needs to be smoothed. Next was the Navlar Tromso, and I have this inked with Dominant Industry Downpour, and this has a fine nib. When I first purchased this pen, it was in a medium nib, I believe, and it was just absolutely too juicy for me. So I purchased a fine nib, gorgeous pen, gorgeous nib. Also, the Navlar, this model is so comfortable as well. I'm just all about comfort when I'm writing. That's why I like a girthier pen as well as a large enough grip section that does not irritate my fingers at all. And this does not. And I also love that there's an ink window here. And let's see, did I write it dry? Practically, there's like a drop or so left in here. I can see it, but not a lot. Now, the Dominant Industry Downpour, I have used that ink in the past and was not impressed. It came across as quite dry, and I can't remember which pen I had it inked in. I'd have to go back and look. But in this pen, I had zero problems. It came out nice and wet. Let's see, right here, the Dominant Industry. But I did give it 3 stars simply because I really wish I had this nib in an extra fine. It wrote great, but something about it, I just want a more fine nib. So I may just purchase a fine instead of having to get a custom grind. I may just go ahead and just purchase a fine for this particular pen. But other than that, other than the nib size, no problems, and would definitely pair this ink and pen again. Next was the Platinum Century 3776 in Tortoise, and this is in a fine nib, and I had it inked with Diamine Yule Log. First of all, I love this pen. It is just the tortoise. Let's see. Looks like it's kind of, there we go. I could probably have a drawer full of tortoise pens and tortoise colored or colorway and tortoise of pens and not feel like I have too many. It's just gorgeous. I will admit that now I am feeling like this pen is rather small. It's not so small that I'm not going to use it, but I do wish that this was a girthier pen. But the color of it and the nib, I love the platinum nib. There's, what am I trying to say? Okay, there's no bounce to it. If you need bounce, this is not the pen for you, the nib for you. But just the smoothness with just the slightest bit of feedback, it's just perfect. The nib is just absolutely perfect. However, I initially had this inked with, let's see here. I initially had this inked with Yule Log. And as you can see, Yule Log is a beautiful brown, kind of a cool tone brown with like copper shimmer. And I don't normally like to draw up my shimmer in my pens, but I think I did draw up a little bit and it started to clog a little bit. So I had to clean it out, and I just decided to replace it with a black ink. So I replaced it with a Iroshizuku Takesumi. And of course, it wrote like a dream. No problems, but it's black. Nothing against black inks because I love black pens, but I don't tend to. I normally only have like one pen inked in black, and this month it's been the last few months. My E95S, but I went ahead and just inked this with black as well. So can't really say much about that, but the initial pairing with the Yule log, it did cause hard stops and clog the nib. Hence, I wanted to keep writing with the pen, so I just cleaned it out and filled it with something that I was comfortable with writing with. So for that reason, I actually gave it 2 stars. The Platinum 3776 and the Diamine Yule log pairing is what I gave 2 stars. And I think it's mainly because of the shimmer in the ink. Had I not drawn up shimmer, I probably would have given it like 4 stars. So there's that. And lastly is the Esterbrook Esty in Cobalt Blue. And I have it inked with Inkybara Petrol Dark. It has a fine nib. This is another one of those just comfortable workhorse pens. I love this blue. It is just kind of glow in the dark, mesmerizing, absolutely gorgeous. I mean, look at the chatoyance of that, just beautiful. This particular ink, it does go down kind of with a slight bluish green hue to it, but then it dries much darker. You can see just the slightest bit of green undertone. I really like this ink, but pretty much when it dries, it looks like a navy blue. But I did feel what felt like a little bit of feedback on this nib. I have felt that the last few times I've used it. So I feel like this particular nib needs to be smoothed as well, and that is why I gave it 3 stars. And here is the ink. So yeah, that is all of my pens. I enjoyed this month. I did. I'm also looking forward to next month. I can't wait to share them with you guys. But let me know your thoughts on these pens and the pairings, if you've paired them, and if you have any thoughts as well. So thank you guys for listening, and I hope you enjoyed. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.